Hey y'all, AB3 here. Before we get started with today's show, I just want to give you a couple of updates on the greatest hunting app that there is right now. Of course, I'm talking about the Onyx Hunt app. I have it. I don't go into the woods without it. Onyx Hunt, man, that application saved me so many times. I want to tell you about the wind and weather. We all know that plays a big part in what we do, how we decide to hunt, where we decide to hunt. And when you have the Onyx Hunt application, you can see hour by hour forecasts for wind speed and direction. Check it out for the next 8 days, any spot that you hunt on your map up to the next 8 days. That means you can plan ahead, kind of like how they said in the AT movie, plan ahead, amigo. You can do that when you got the Onyx Hunt app. Weather updates coming from 100,000 weather stations, refreshed every 15 minutes. Large, intuitive visuals make it easier for hunters to identify weather patterns, make those in-moment decisions, switch it up, kill those big deer, kill those big elk, get after those ducks and geese, making quick on-the-spot decisions, man, to help you be successful. Trim tracks, man. If you got the trim tracks, you can easily get to and from your stand. Sometimes you forget to turn your trim tracker off. Now with the trim tracks, you can trim those extra steps, get it down to a precise, direct route in and out of your hunt area. Onyx Hunt, know where you stand. Make sure if you don't have it for your Android or your iPhone, it is available. You can also use it on your browser. Web maps are available. Whatever you choose to use, just make sure you're using Onyx Hunt.
From Stone Mountain, Georgia, this is the Bryant Land Show. Hosted by proud Gamecock and South Carolinian AB3.
February 1st, 2021 is the date. At the rate that we're going, before you know it, it'll be September and it'll be deer season again. Welcome to the Bryant Land Show. Glad you guys decided to take the time to come through, make a download. Hope you are subscribing. If not, that is what you need to do. You need to make a subscription to the Bryant Land Show, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, on our website, bryantlandcountry.com, or any of the many podcast applications that there are. We appreciate you. We appreciate the fact that you took the time to get here. Great show today. Want to say thank you and send a shout out to the folks over at Onyx Hunt for sponsoring our podcast. Also want to say a big hello to the folks at Irish Set of Boots and Traeger Grills. Make sure you check out the companies that are helping the Bryant Land Show get to where we want to be. February 1st, man, I cannot believe it. January is gone. Deer season's done in most places. I think Alabama still got a little bit of deer season going on. Saw Kenneth Owensby killed a nice buck the other day from KLO Outdoors. Shout out to Kenneth. So still some folks in Alabama getting it done. So yeah, man. February 1st though, duck season over. I'm getting ready to head down and go on my first conservation goose hunt. Never been on a conservation snow geese hunt, so I'm going to head down, do that, and then do some other stuff down while I'm there. So it's February, guys. Valentine's Day, if you partake in that, is around the corner. February 14th, less than 2 weeks away. So just this year's progressing, man. It keeps rolling. I cannot believe that January is done and we are already in February. Got a great show for you guys today. As I said, duck season closed, but I got one more waterfowler I want to introduce to y'all before we kind of shift gears and start doing some other stuff. I know last week we had Scott Ellis on. Hopefully you guys checked that interview out, talking turkeys. Never too early to start talking about turkey season. So if you have not listened to last week's episode with Scott Ellis, make sure you go back and take a listen to that after you finish this. And my guest this week, Devon Barnes from the great state of Oklahoma. Highly underrated state for waterfowling. Me and Devon, we sit down, we talk about waterfowling, we talk about noodling catfish, duck hunting, goose hunting. So great conversation with Devon. Really enjoyed talking to him, and going to let you guys listen in on what we had to talk about. Now, one thing, if you listen to the show, I always do my best to share feedback and stuff that I get with y'all, whether it's good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. I mean, for the most part, a lot of times people will write in and say, hey, we love the show. Thank you for the work you're doing. You're putting a light on people that otherwise may not get a spotlight. I've been called a blatant racist by one listener. Well, I assume they're still listening. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Maybe I rubbed them the wrong way. But nevertheless, good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. I always give you guys, share you guys your feedback, because I really appreciate the time that you take to write, whether it's in the DMs or send me, an email or whatever the case. I appreciate that you guys take the time to share your thoughts with me. So, that being said, Bretson Jones, I hope I pronounced that name right. Bretson Jones sent me a DM a few months back. Just listen to episode 106. That was with Jamel McBride, talking about coon hunting and raising coon hounds. Just listen to episode 106. Been following you for some time now, and I enjoy the show. But there's something you said in 106 that rubbed me the wrong way. Talking about your hog hunt, and the part about the dogs getting cut up when you were trying to get in position to take your shot. And what I said was, I went on a hog hunt. The guy that had dogs had hog hunting dogs. They were not pits, but they are pit bulls rather, but they were experienced hounds, band hounds. So they didn't go in and lock down the hogs like normally pit bulls would do when you are hunting hogs with pit bulls. So just for a quick reference, like I said, I was on a hunt, getting ready to take a shot. The hounds were distracting the pig. I was getting ready to take a shot on the pig. And by the time, everything was done, successfully harvest the pig. When we got back to camp, we noticed that one of the dogs had a cut on it from the hogs. So now that I got that in context, let me continue here. So talking about your hog hunt, the part about the dogs getting cut up when you were trying to get in position to take a shot, that's not something that happens very often. If you got your dog, that's not something that happens very often. If your dog's getting cut down every time you go hunting, you got to do something different, or you're going to be out of thousands of dollars every time you hunt. I know it happens sometimes, but good dogs hardly ever get cut. I normally let people do their own thing and don't get involved unless I get asked, but you're hosting a hunting show, reaching people all over the world. The way you word it gives anti-hunters fuel. Hound hunters are the gateway that they use to get into band hunting places. Just something to think about. Hope you don't let that get under your skin, and keep up the good work, giving the black community a hunting platform I look forward to every week. So, Bretson, first of all, appreciate you taking the time, to send me a line here. No, it doesn't get up under my skin at all. I mean, it's very constructive feedback. The guy that I went with, I would say, has been having these hounds, as far as I know, for a very long time. As far as I know, he's never lost one in a hunting accident or anything like that. So I understand where you're coming from. But the anti-hunter fuel part of your comment, which again is also a very valid comment, very valid thought. Let me just say this. Honestly, I think sometimes, well, let me rephrase that. Most times, hunters, we are our own worst enemy. I know a lot of people like to talk about anti-hunters and PETA and all those folks, and don't get me wrong, they are definitely a threat to hunting and the outdoors, hunting especially, even fishing. They're definitely a threat and should be taken seriously. But however, just in my experience and things that I read and observe, I think we hunters are our own worst enemy with the way that we criticize, bash, and make fun of other hunters, whether they be quote-unquote professional hunters, folks on TV, or whether they're just new people starting out, or your average Joe that's just been hunting majority of his lifetime. But like I said, the anti-hunters, the people that are always looking to paint hunting into a negative light, they're always going to be around. They're always going to be trying to do that. So I definitely don't want to give them fuel, as you say, but I would also just say a word of caution that I think overall we as hunters in general could stand to be a bit better towards each other. But nevertheless, again, I appreciate the fact that you take the time to listen to the show. Thank you for looking forward to every week. Hopefully we are putting out great content that keeps you coming back, helps you to tell other people to check out our podcast and check out the work that we're doing. So like I said, man, I really appreciate it. I understand where you're coming from, and thanks for sharing. All right, now, here we go. Devon Barnes, myself, having a conversation, talking waterfowling, noodling catfish, killing turkeys, all kind of stuff right now here on the Bryant Land Show.
Bryant Land.
Devon, what's going on,
Yes.
man? Welcome to the Bryant Land Show.
Appreciate you, man, having me on.
Man, I really enjoyed getting a chance to talk to you for a little bit today. Like I said, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. When I was looking at your stuff on Instagram, the thing that jumped off the page to me was full-time waterfowler in your bio on your page, and I was just like, man, and I'm looking through and I'm looking at, your page and all these ducks, and you get limits and stuff, and I'm like, this fella's pretty young, man, and he's out here doing his thing.
Yeah, I just eat, breathe, and sleep waterfowl. That's all I do. Ever since I've been a kid, that's all I've ever known is just hunting ducks and just hunting upland bird and just anything that flies, really.
Out in Oklahoma, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Northeastern Oklahoma, Muskogee County.
Muskogee County, that's what's up, man. So when you started waterfowling and being in the outdoors and stuff, who introduced you?
Man, my dad really introduced me. When I was a kid, we'd go out and me, my dad, and my grandpa, we'd have what we call walk days, and we'd just walk and we'd shoot rabbits, squirrels, ducks, quail, whatever. And man, I just really love them birds, so that just really caught my eye.
Man, now when You were 16. You said you started guiding.
Yes.
Did you did did that just come from like your love of waterfowling, or like, because most people, when they're 16, they get a job at like the grocery store or something like that. But I mean, you out here making a living in the outdoor industry.
Yeah. Well, guiding really blew up when I was about 16 on Instagram, and I was like, man, I could make money off shooting birds. So I was 16 in high school, and like I said, I was just fortunate enough to have some private land that I hunted a lot, and I was like, man, I could run a few hunts a week, instead of getting a job, and it just worked out ever since.
Man, now have you been able to guide like out of state, or are you just doing it basically in Oklahoma?
Man, I've got it a little in Texas. I help a buddy out. He owns Tornado Country Outfitters in Quanah. His name's Evan Stavolis. I've helped Flatline Outfitters out, and I've ran in Texas around Anthony, and but most of my hunting I've done it a lot in Oklahoma, all over Oklahoma.
We were saying yesterday, and I was telling you, I came last year to Oklahoma and hunted ducks, had a great time. I think it was like 5 or 6 of us, shot like a full limit, just had a great time. And, Oklahoma is just one of the underrated, quiet little places where you can go and have a great time shooting ducks. What do you think, or being out in the field as much as you are, what do you attribute that change to? Because people have certain places, certain states that they attribute, to duck hunting, but obviously you guys got it going on down there.
Yeah, like you said, Oklahoma's just a quiet place. Not a lot of people really know about it, but I mean, Oklahoma, man, we got everything here. You can shoot mallards in the creek, you can shoot mallards in the field, you can shoot mallards on a lake, you can shoot mallards in a puddle. We got big geese, little geese, specks, snows. we got everything. Every now and then, you'll see on it, on social media, somebody shot a brant goose, a coastal bird
Mm-hmm.
in a big spin, out in western Oklahoma, and you're just like, man, what the hell is he doing here? But it's just it's Oklahoma is it's where dreams come true.
Man, I like how you said that. It's where dreams come true. There, and then going back to what you were talking about, you were saying, you can shoot them in the ponds and stuff like that. What is the like primary places where you guys go? Because Oklahoma being kind of like a flatland state, you don't really have like a lot of swamps or like flooded timber or stuff like that. So is it just all ponds and fields?
Well, see, that's the thing. A lot of people just think Oklahoma's flat.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a little bit of everything. Like I said, me and my buddy, we just got done finding a little spot down on the bottom side of this hill. And it's just a big slough, and I shoot them in the timber. I shoot them in the our sloughs, swamps. Shoot them in the field. Like I said, we'll get a heavy rain on a flat field, and they'll be out in the Bermuda grass just tearing it up. So
Wow.
I mean, it's just wherever they are or wherever they want to be, they're going to be.
Man. Now, with you starting at early age, what I guess like what was the best way, or what call did you start with? Did you start with like a duck call, or did you start with a goose call, and were you just kind of running around behind your dad, just practicing all the time? Like how did you get better at your calling?
Well, I came across my dad bought me this call as a Primo's original winch, and I've had it. I still blow it to this day. I've had it for, I don't know. I was about 10 or 11 when he got it for me.
Oh wow.
And man, I've just ever since then I think I've changed the reeds out of it 3 or 4 times, but that's all I've ever blown is that original winch, and I've just repetitively listening to people and just listening to ducks, and just the more you sound like a duck, the better off.
Right. Right.
And that's all I've ever done. Like I said, I mean, I put my landing around my mirror in my truck, and every day, I mean, I'm on it, just running it down. Because I mean, you can never be too good.
No, that's it. Always learning, always improving. And like for some of our listeners that may not know, when you say changing out the reed is basically the piece that's inside the call that basically gives it, its its tone, and then let you change like the inflection and the sounds and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, and I've bought other winches, because they only make that one winch. They tune it theirself, they glue it, and they stick it. They don't. Like I said, I've had to buy two or three other original winches just to get the tone board out of them, because I've cracked the tone board in it, and the barrel's cracked. But like I said, I slap another tone board or another reed in it, and it sounds just like it always has.
Man, now you said something yesterday that kind of jumped out at me as well when we were talking offline. You said that not so much just a duck hunter, you're a waterfowler.
Yes, sir.
Explain that. What does that mean when you say it like that?
Man, I do it all. You got a lot of guys, they only know how to duck hunt, and you got some guys that they just know how to goose hunt. When I say goose hunt, they only know how to you know hunt lessers or hunt Canadas or let your specs or your snows. And I mean, me being me, I've learned over the years how to do it all. Like I said, it wouldn't be nothing for me and my good buddy to go out and set up on ducks or geese or specks or whatever. And it's just like I said, it's just over the years of learning and doing your homework and figuring birds out, how they work, to get to how we are now. And
Right.
that's what I mean by a full-time waterfowler instead of a duck hunter.
And just being that versatility, being able to hop from one to another, and just being able to make it happen, by being versatile.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Which I've always found that interesting because you know I've I've watched people. When I go out, I've duck hunted and goose hunted, and then of course my passion is deer hunting. I love to especially bow hunt deer. It's a little bit of a slower man's game, deer hunting, a little bit quieter, more peacefuler. But my point is, I've found that most people, while you can do both, like as far as like waterfowling, deer hunting, duck hunting, stuff like that, you really have a passion, or you really develop a passion for one or the other, because the seasons cross and it takes a lot of work to really be really, really good at one or the other.
Yeah, I agree with you with that 100%. And on top of that, like I said, you got deer season and duck season that intertwine with each other, and neither one of them are a cheap sport. And
And that's the thing, because I feel like waterfowling is way more expensive
oh man,
than deer
yeah,
hunting. Not to
yeah,
mention trying to find a place to hunt.
yeah. Waterfowl, it breaks you. It either makes you or it breaks you. You know, like I said, I mean, I'm me myself. I burn at least a hundred a week in scouting.
Mm.
I get off work or I get out of school, and as soon as I hit the road, I got gas in my truck. I'm finding birds. I'll line up hunt for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or if I'm fortunate enough to get off during a weekday, I'm finding something that I can hunt. And it's just deer. You got your leases, or you got your private land you can hunt. You know, you got your money in your stands, your feed, your cameras, your bow, your rifle, whatever you're using.
Right.
And I mean, both sports rack up, but by far, yeah, duck hunting, it'll if you ain't careful, it'll break you.
Yeah.
It'll break you.
Yeah.
It'll break you in a heartbeat.
You're right about that. Especially decoys alone. I remember
Decoys.
I hunted with the. I used to hunt in Illinois with my buddy Brian, and we would go out and he'd come in, he'd set the decoys because he's real meticulous about how he wanted to set his spread and stuff. So he would set his spread and whatnot. But at the end of the hunt, we would always help him, load all the geese and decoys and stuff up. And I was just floored by how many decoys he would be running in his spread. And I mean, they're all kinds. They're like flat boards, they're 3Ds, they're sitting 3Ds, feeding 3Ds, feeding flat boards, just like all kind of like paper mache. It's funny because his spread tells the story, if you're paying attention, of how he started. Like, because you still got those paper mache decoys, and then he's got, like the flat boarded 2-sided decoys, and then he's got some really nice 3D decoys, so you can see like the progression. But I was just amazed at how many they are and just how expensive, like, he's got to have. And I'm pretty sure I'm being way modest and probably undercutting it. I would say at least $1,000 in decoys.
Oh, I if that's the least.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I am probably undercutting it by a lot.
Yeah. See, me and a few buddies, we got a trailer and 60 dozen dive bombs, 3 A-frames. We got a rig, and I tell you, it ain't cheap.
Yeah, and see that, and it's funny you brought the trailer up. I didn't even think about that. Right, towing the trailer around, going from property to property or wherever you're going. To toss it in. Now, in Oklahoma, because you're carrying, your trailer and stuff. Like, is he carrying the boat, or are you guys mostly off of the bank when you're not like in these flooded areas or whatnot?
Yeah, we usually will, like I said, we'll set a game plan up, but 9 times out of 10 we're hauling a trailer wherever we are, just for the fact of, man, even if you don't need what you all need in your trailer, you still have it.
Right.
You don't have to get it out, put it in the back of your truck, scratch your truck up, just mess the back of your truck all up. You got a trailer, especially if you're running, 8, 9 guys. You got everything you need.
Mm-hmm.
You can set up, break it down, put it in the trailer, all nice and neat. Everything has its designated spot it needs to go. And that's the best thing about a trailer. But for the most part, if like me and 3 or 4 other guys are going to go hunt like a little pond or something, we'll throw an A-frame and 2 dozen decoys in the back of the truck and go do it.
Keep on moving. It's the old, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, son.
That's it. Yeah, yes, sir.
I totally.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, when you get out there and you don't have it, and you're like, "Damn, I wish we would have had it."
Right.
You got it in the trailer, so there ain't no excuses.
Especially depending on how far you're going out there. Yeah. Duck hunt or goose hunt? Which one do you prefer? If they pinned you down and said you had to pick one, which one are you going with?
Oh, I'm going goose all day.
Really?
All day. Yeah. Well, I take that back. I mean, if it's just a straight slap to the mouth mallard hunt, absolutely. But if it's a goose hunt, I can't. It's over 300 ducks any day. I mean, I'm a nut for some geese. When I go out up to Enid with some good buddies, they run the Outfit Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Shane Llewellyn, man, it's just a big cut up time up there. Every time we go up there, we shot like 220 birds in 3 days. It was just, man, there was never not one time it was dull. I mean, it was always fun. His clients had a good time. It's just, when you got a bunch of birds working and you got them big spins on top of you, I mean, it's hard to pick some ducks over them geese just doing it.
Yeah. It's funny because, again, like when I first started out going on duck hunts and stuff, I enjoyed it. I enjoy, duck calls and the sounds that they make and stuff. But when you get a chance to hunt geese and like when hunting in Illinois, you're in like a pit blind, like underground, and, you're covered and whatnot. And then you see those geese land basically right in your face, just those big birds with the big wingspan, and when they pull up and they're getting ready to land and they're landing in your face and you just pop out and just start blasting them. I don't know, it to me there's nothing like it, and I like the fact, quite honestly, bigger targets than ducks that seem to just do all kind of different things when they get into a hole. Like they look like they're going to commit, and then the next thing you know, they turn into like fighter pilots and just start like whistling and turning all kind of different ways.
Oh yeah. Like I said, them geese, man, it just something about them, just especially when you got a good wind.
Right.
Man, geese will do some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You'll see them touch wingtips, flip upside down. I mean, just get wild. Them ducks, it don't matter where you hunt them, pond, puddle, timber, slough. Everybody can say it. They've all missed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's just they do. I mean, they do what they want to do. They get to whipping and turning, and I like I said, that's why I love them geese. It's just a big target, and it's just, I mean, like I said, it's 9 times out of 10, it's right there in your face.
The craziest thing that I've ever seen when we were goose hunting, as a matter of fact, I think it was the first goose hunt I'd ever went on. There were some geese. They were coming. They looked like they were going to commit, and then they changed their mind, and they were literally pecking at each other in midair. Like they were flying out of our area and pecking back and forth, like fighting each other in midair. And I'm just like, I wonder what that argument is about. It's like, no, we're not going into that area. Yes, we are going into that area. Like what?
Yeah, no joke. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, it was like literally they were coming in and they didn't get close enough like to commit to where we could shoot them, like out front where we could shoot them, but it was almost like a little, they pulled up and then they kind of like went, instead of like coming down in front of us, they kind of like went back up, and they were literally parallel and pecking at each other, flying beside each other. And I'm just like, and I turned to Brian and he was just like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. And I'm like, you've been at this a lot longer than I have, and I know I haven't seen anything like that.
I can honestly say I've never seen anything like that. Somebody was pissed, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's just like somebody, and of course up in the air like that, I couldn't tell, male, female, or whatever. If it was just like, yes, this is where we're going. No, we're not going here. We're going to keep going. Like whatever that argument was, it was fierce. And of course, those geese never circled back around. We never got a chance to shoot those two. We definitely shot our limit that day, and we shot some more later on. But those two, just like I say, as long as I can remember, that will stick out to me, actually watching two geese fight about not going into the spread.
Yeah, that'll be something you'll never forget.
You're right. Now looking at your stuff, I know, you're really into the waterfowling and stuff like that, and we talked about the difference, in being able to, kind of let loose and enjoy waterfowling as opposed to being really quiet and stuff in the deer stand. But you got some really impressive turkey kills.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. Man, like I said, like we talked yesterday, if I had to pick one to hunt for the rest of my life, I'd have to X them waterfowl out. I love me some turkeys.
Man, now what is it about the turkey hunt? Because I've talked to different people, and some people like the the activeness of being able to basically carry on a conversation with a turkey. Like if you find a turkey that'll cooperate, you're basically having a conversation with the calls and stuff. Some people like just the spring and being, outside in the woods in the spring and stuff. What was the draw to turkey hunting, or what is the draw, I should say, for turkey hunting for you?
Man, honestly, what gets me going on turkeys is it honestly has to be that spit. If you ever get close enough to hear turkey spit, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's just when they're that close, you're just like, man, and just turkeys fighting decoys. Man, I can sit there and I can watch 2-3 toms tear a Jake decoy up all day long because they ain't playing around. They're straight whooping his ass.
Now that's the one thing I'm waiting on. Now speaking of seeing geese fight, that's the one thing that I'm waiting on. Like I want to see. I have yet to have a tom come in to a decoy with bad intentions and just cut loose, like you say, whoop its ass. Like I've not seen that yet. Obviously, I've seen plenty of videos. It's hilarious. It's badass because they go to town on those things, but I've yet to witness it, and it's something that I definitely want to see and want to be a part of.
It's something to see in your lifetime, and it's just, man, turkeys are just crazy because they're so weary. They're so weary, and everybody tells me if a turkey could smell, you'd never shoot him.
Right, because they can see for 1,000 yards. They can pick off movement and all that kind of stuff. So that's what.
They can hear for forever.
Yep.
And it's just the fact that a bird's so weary. One shotgun, just one shot shooting a bird. Say you got 2-3 birds on you. I've seen birds jump on the bird that I just shot and whoop his ass.
Yes.
After I just got done shooting him, and that's what gets you fired up even more, And usually, when we find a roost and we got 3 or 4 gobblers in there, we'll take 2 or 3 guys in there because 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. That bird gets to flopping and going around, and it just does something to the birds to make them want to jump on him. And so, you shoot 3 banging toms, 3 guys, that's a great day.
Right.
And you get a show in front of you. But it's just something about turkeys. It's the fact that knowing, like I like the public land ground with turkeys. And it's the fact of knowing that these birds have had multiple people on top of them calling and trying different strategies and not succeeding. And you walk in there, you do your homework, you walk your miles, and you walk out with a 10+ inch beard.
Yeah.
You got the bragging rights. It's just something about them spurs and them beards that I won't ever get over.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at, as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at one of my fan and my fan beard and spur mount. Like the first turkey I ever killed, I killed with a bow out in Nebraska, and I had the entire turkey mounted just because I was just like, I couldn't believe my first turkey hunt, my first time going with a bow, and I actually killed a turkey, killed a Miriam. But the one that I have here was one that I shot when I lived in Wisconsin, and like I said, I just got the fan mount, and I'm looking at the beard and the feet and the spurs, and as you were talking about it, and yeah, it's nothing like it when you hear those gobbles, and then like you said, the spitting and drumming, just the sounds that a big, mature male turkey make, and to be so close to them. Like I see why people call them thunder chickens, because it is, you can feel it in your chest when they get the gobbling and stuff, man. It definitely is an adrenaline rush.
Man, and I've shot a lot of deer. I've never had an adrenaline rush like I have when I shoot turkeys, and it's the exact same feeling every year.
Now, gun or bow?
Oh, it just depends on what I'm hunting. Uh,
No, I
I'm
mean
talking a turkey.
for turkeys. Like, are you
Oh
strictly?
hell, I'm shooting a gun. Yeah, no, I shot one turkey with a bow, and I ain't doing that again.
What? When you say it like that, what
Man, I
what
that was
happened?
man, that was rough. I was 15. I was at my grandma's, and she lives right off of a main creek that runs to the Arkansas River. And one down there, I mean, down where I live, we call them Cane Creek birds. You don't they don't gobble. You know,
Mm,
they won't ever gobble. And if you do hear them gobble and it's season, you better get down there on them.
mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was 15 out in the yard after school one day, and I heard two gobble down in the valley behind her house. And I had my bow with me, and I was like, man. So I get down there, and I call him in, and it's just one little Jake. He runs in, and the other one, I don't know what he does, but this Jake runs in, and he's strutting and kicking and spitting, and I pop him. I shoot him straight in his chest. He goes to flopping, and I mean, my adrenaline's just running, just rushing. I'm tickled. I got a bad problem. As soon as I let something fly, I call my dad. I'm like, my dad's like, well, go get him first. Don't call me yet. Make sure he's dead. You know, because I've done that. I've done that with a few big deer. You know, I get to calling him. He's like, well, make sure he's dead. You know,
Right.
don't call me yet. But I went down there and I grabbed that turkey. He was still alive.
Ooh.
Man, he jumped on my ass. I mean, like I said, he had them little old. He didn't have no spurs, but I mean, just a turkey spurring you. It ain't comfortable.
I was about to say, even with the little nubs, I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah,
sure he nubbed
oh
you pretty
yeah,
good.
oh yeah. He's nubbing me, pecking me, and I was like, yeah, no, I'll go and stick with the shotgun.
Wow, and it's crazy because like you were saying about how when you shoot them, and if there are other turkeys around, it's like they just automatically turn on them and start jumping on them. When I shot my turkey, I'm sitting there and I'm filming, myself. So I'm already proud that I called these like four turkeys down off of a ridge. So like I'm already like ecstatic because like when they show up and I actually see them, it's almost like, oh shit, they're here, they're actually here.
Yeah,
And I mean, and they're Miriams, and people that turkey hunt know that between Miriams and Rios, they're the most vocal and the easiest as far as like getting to respond to your calls. So, they come down. Got my camera on them, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, wow, this is so fucking cool. And you're sitting there, and I'm following with the camera, and they get out of the frame of the camera, but I can still see them out of the corner of my blind. And I'm like, well, damn, I got to go ahead and shoot one of these things or else they're all going to be gone. So I, stop filming, rear back, get my bow. Needless to say, I don't get the shot on camera because they're already out of the frame of the video. You can hear me pulling the bow back, and then you can hear the sound when the arrow hits them. So the arrow hits them, they take off. The rest of them are gobbling, and I can tell I hit one because he's hobbling. So I'm like, okay. And then he's still hobbling away from me, and I'm like, oh boy, did I not hit him that good? And then he takes off and flies. And he takes off and flies, and he probably went, I don't know, 10 feet, and then dropped and piled up under a tree. And by that point, like when I see him take off, I just, I'm just like, oh, like I lost this bird, like, whatever. And I didn't see him pile up until I went back and looked at the video, and we were already went back to camp because I'm like, he got away basically. So we look at the video, we go back out there. Sure enough, birds dead, piled up under the tree. But as you could see, where the other birds had already been like pecking and stomping on them before
oh,
they
stomping,
go
ruffling
back
feathers.
up. It's like, wait a minute. Y'all came down here and everybody was all buddy buddy. One of your boys gets shot, and instead of
Y'all jump
mourning
on them.
over it, y'all jumping back on them
Yeah,
before going on about your business.
don't make no sense. Yeah, all three come in chest swole together. They're gonna whoop somebody's ass, and they whoop your ass.
And then they just go out and leave. It's like it's the darndest thing I'd ever
I
seen. But
I'll like I said, I'll never understand that. I guess it's just a. Well, it'd have to be just a a testosterone deal, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I mean, it's just like I said, them turkeys, they're always got a special place in my heart. You know, like I said, birds down here where I'm at, they don't gobble. You'll hear them, you'll hear them spit and drum, and just when you see that red head start bouncing to the trees, you're like, oh yeah, just sit back, he's coming.
Now, you guys got a combination of Easterns and Miriams, right? Or
We got a combination. Down where I'm at, we have a lot of Easterns and Rios.
okay.
From what I understand, about 20, 25 years ago, a bunch of guys down here in my area were raising turkeys and letting them go.
Mm.
And I don't know what breed turkey they were, but the birds down here, if you look at their tail, the tips of their tail, their fan, it's like a real crisp white, and the brown in their fan. It's not brown. It's like a light, like a medium light tan. And man, they're a beautiful bird.
Wow.
But they're a cross down here. They're a cross between the Eastern and the Rio, and whatever else is crossed with those birds they let loose. But for the main part in Oklahoma, we got a lot of Easterns and a lot of Rios.
Yeah, the Rios and Miriams, especially the Miriams, I enjoy hunting those because, like I said, I like the vocal birds, the birds that respond to my crappy calling until I can get better.
Yeah,
the Easterns, those are some tough, cagey birds.
tough. If you're killing Easterns, man, you know what you're doing.
Right. Which,
like I said, I've only shot a handful of Easterns.
I was about to say, which goes back to my original point of I'm still trying to figure this out because I've shot one Eastern and I was supposed to go to Texas to hunt Rios, but that was before the COVID happened. So.
Oh yeah, man, COVID really done a lot this year. It played its toll, that's for sure.
Yeah, it did. It did a number. Like I said, I had a nice Texas Rio hunt set up. I was gonna carry my shotgun and my bow. I was gonna try to get one of each. Get one with a shotgun just so I don't leave it empty-handed. And then after I killed one with a shotgun, I try to kill the other one with a bow. But ended up basically staying here in Georgia and trying to hunt Easterns on my own, and that was let's just say it wasn't fun. Like I learned a lot, but it was not the kind of excitement that I was looking for.
Yeah, that's my one bucket on my bucket list. I want to come kill a bird in Georgia. I got some buddies. They come up and duck hunt, and they live in Vidalia, Georgia.
Yeah, yep, the onions. Yep, onion capital. Yep, Vidalia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they just a bunch of good old boys. They come down every year to come hunt, and my best friend, he went down there 2 years ago, and I shot a pretty bird, man, beautiful, and that's going to be my next goal is go down, and they're all the time like, man, come down to Georgia, come shoot a turkey, come down to Georgia, come hang out, come shoot a turkey. So I think I'm gonna finally take up that offer and go ahead and knock it out and just say I shot me a Georgia bird.
There you go. Now, so duck hunt, goose hunt, basically waterfowl. Okay, check that off. Love turkeys. Check that off. Deer, not so much. So we put an X through it. We'll put an X through that. But here's the one that I also think jumps off the page, and you're kind of like, really? You fish, but not the traditional, let me just toss a rod and reel and kick back and see what happens. You out here noodling catfish.
Yeah, if they ain't bite my fingers, I won't catch them. Yeah, if they ain't chomping on me, I don't want it.
When did you start first of all, okay, let me back up. Because I'm taking for granted that everybody knows what noodling is. If you don't know what noodling catfish is, you're basically going underwater, sticking your hand in the mouth of a catfish. It will bite down on your hands, and then you snatch that sucker out of the water, basically, with your bare hands.
Yeah.
And if I'm not if memory serves me correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe like Oklahoma, Arkansas, like these, obviously you can do it anywhere and people do it like, all over the country and in the South and stuff. But I think Oklahoma, like Arkansas, those are like the primary states, where Louisiana, where people like really get into noodling. Like noodling is really big.
Yeah, noodling down where I'm at is, they have noodling competitions. Usually every other Saturday, they're all down at Gentry Creek or somewhere off Eufaula, weighing in catfish.
And these aren't like little catfish that you like. These aren't little itty bitty little channel cats that you go with your kids and you toss like a little liver on their line and they come back and they get these, little small catfish that don't know no better, that's trying to eat all of your liver or your hot dog off your line. Like these are monsters. How much are these? How much are these monsters weighing?
Man, I've caught them from 15 pounds to, my biggest fish I've caught was 42 pounds. I've seen them caught 60, 70 pounds.
That's crazy.
If you think about it, fighting a 60-pound catfish in the water in his territory, man, that's you gotta be one tough dude.
And oh, by the way, it's not like clear water, so you can just see like what's going on. People are sticking their hands and limbs and stuff in hot, murky water, hollow logs. Like, has it? Because in my mind, the only thing I can think about when you trying to noodle in that old muddy, murky water is like a water moccasin or something snapping on you, or you mess around and get, one of them old dinosaur snapping turtles or something. Like, man, I just can't imagine the nerves of steel that you got to have to just stick your hand in a hollow log or in an area where you think it might be catfish and just waiting for one to just snatch onto your fingers.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've heard that a lot growing up. All the time we'll go to the gas station. You got the old men sitting at the, drinking their coffee, and they're like, y'all, what are y'all out doing? Noodling. Y'all boys can get a hold of water moccasin. Y'all boys can get a hold of a beaver and get a hold of a snap turtle, snap your finger off.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, like the only way you're going to have that happen is if you're in some holes that happen to have air pocket in them. If you're in a hole that's surfacing, first off, you're not gonna catch me sticking my hand in a hole surfacing. I ain't gonna do that. Now, if it's underwater, like a dock or a rock or
mm-hmm.
There's tires out there, bathtubs, anything that's underwater, you really ain't got to worry about no water moccasin or snapping turtle hanging out or in them areas, And usually in them areas where them catfish want to be, there ain't gonna be no snapping turtle, because just like them biting down on your hand, they're gonna bite down on a snake or a turtle or whatever and get them out of the way.
Okay.
So usually it's if there ain't a fish there, there ain't a fish there, but they're usually you ain't got to worry about no turtles or no snakes or beavers. Or now I do know some guys that's got bitten by some water moccasins, and I know a guy that he's missing his pinky. He got his pinky bit off by a beaver.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, man. But like I said, 90% of the time, if you're in a hole submerged underwater, you really ain't got to worry about nothing like that. And that's the biggest fear everybody's worried about, because that was my biggest fear for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
My dad all the time, you're gonna mess. He said, because all the time, like, man, let's go down here on Cane Creek. Everybody's down here catching fish. He was like, well, yeah, when you're gonna go down there and you're gonna find a snake. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to find no snakes.
Right.
I don't do snakes.
Golly, man. And then again, I want to paint this picture, because I just feel like there's so many people that are listening that are like, wait a minute, what? You're sticking your hand where? What? There's no gloves. Like, they don't make noodling gloves. So there's not like a glove that you got on or nothing like that. You're talking about a 20-pound and up plus catfish, mouth, inside their mouth like sandpaper, and you're underwater and you're trying to basically, once it latches onto you, mind you, it's latched onto you, and then you're trying to snatch it up out of that water. Like, I don't know, man. It's amazing to me. Like, much respect.
I appreciate it, man. It's a sport you really got to respect. You know, it's something you don't learn overnight. It's something to try. And when you want to come down and try, you just holler at me, and I can get you on some fish.
Yeah. You can get me on the geese. And I'll watch. I'll watch, and hell, I'll run camera for you. You want to go noodling, man, and you want me to get behind the camera, I got you. Intro, outro, fish coming out the water, slow motion, 4K, 8K, whatever you want. I got you on all of that. But I ain't sticking my hand in no water.
Hey, man, I will say this: it ain't for everybody. You know? That's one thing that I totally respect. You know, it ain't for everybody. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. You know, I get a kick out of watching people pull fish out of holes. You know, videos. I'll tell you somebody who I really get a kick out of watching pull fish out of a hole is. You ever heard of Hannah Barron?
I think I've heard the name. Yeah.
Man, she's one wicked chick. She don't care at all. And I've watched her on Instagram. She's pulled some cats bigger than her out.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, couldn't be me.
Right?
You know, couldn't be me.
Oh, that is crazy. Like I said, much respect, man. Now, you finishing up school, going to school to be a lineman. I know he said something yesterday when we were talking. He was like, "Yeah, we had to do some things differently in class because it was raining outside and we couldn't get on the line because it was raining and lightning." And I'm like, "Yeah, that would be the deterrent to kind of not do that." But you're going to school to be a lineman, working on power lines and stuff like that. You already guiding, making a name for yourself. What is next for Mr. Devon Barnes? Like, what are your ultimate goals?
Man, my ultimate goal in life is just having a good life, having a beautiful family, and just teaching my kids my ways, you know, how I grew up, my hunting, and you know what I've done, and just like I said, just live a simple and good life.
Man,
finish school and carry on.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I just wanted to say, before I get you out of here, I just want to say, you know, I know when we were talking, you know, you're guiding waterfowl in Oklahoma, getting to travel and guide other places, but guiding Oklahoma, it's like you and one other fella that are, you know, guides of color, black guides that are guided in Oklahoma. And I can only imagine how proud your father and your grandfather must be of you, 23 years old, making a name for yourself, already guiding, you know, running your own business, in school, learning the trade. Man, I know your parents and grandparents and stuff have to be proud of you. And I just want to tell you, man, it was a pleasure to get to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming on.
Man, like I said, I really appreciate you reaching out to me and letting me do this podcast. I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while, and like I said, when you gave me this offer, I had to hop all over it, and I'm glad I did.
And we're going to have to get you back on. And more importantly, next year, when waterfowl season comes back around, I'm going to have to carve out some time and get away from the deer. If I can I tell you honestly, if I can get on deer earlier than October, because like last year I shot my first deer in October, and if I can get it, because we start in September, if I can go ahead and get me a nice September deer, I won't mind giving up a weekend or sometime during the week to come to Oklahoma and try to kill some ducks once duck season starts, or try to kill some geese once goose season start. My problem is if I don't kill a deer until October, I go into an obsession, and then I'm trying to kill deer from the rest of the way, all the way till the last day on this year was January 10th, all the way to the last day of January. I am like, I know y'all are out here. I'm trying to kill deer. So hopefully next year I can get an early start, or get an early kill rather, because obviously you can't start no earlier than the season starts. But get on the board quicker, and then when I walk away from it, I won't feel pressed as to like, okay, I hadn't done anything in deer season, I can't walk away.
Yeah, man. Hopefully next year you get your deer early. I'd love to have you come down and get you on some birds. Anywhere from mid-November to January 31st. You know, we're out here grinding. We're out here killing. You know, doing the same thing.
That's a nice. That's a nice season right there into January 31st. Huh? Okay.
Yeah. We had a weird season this year. Our season opened November 14th. It's usually about November 2nd or November 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll last. We get that 2-week split, and it'll last. We had a 1-week split this year.
Is that was that because of COVID, or are they just trying some different things?
Man, every year they'll have the split. They have that every year. It's just
right, to let them rest.
Give the birds a rest. But I'm not too sure. I'm honestly not too sure about why they opened in the 14th, which I'm not complaining. Like I said, open in the morning, we banged a six man in about 45 minutes.
Wow.
You know, usually November 2nd, there ain't no birds. You know, it's still a little warm, but that 2-week difference, man, it really, really made a difference.
Nice. Yeah, I was looking last year. It came up in my memories a few weeks ago. I think it was like December when I was down there, and we killed pretty good on those ducks. I think it was like mid-December I was down there. So definitely, man, we're gonna have to hook something up and come down there and get on some birds. I know the very last thing. I don't know why or how I forgot this. Before I get you out of here, tell people where they can find you and where they can follow you and keep up with you and all your adventures.
Man, you can find me. My Instagram name is Devon Barnes 5. Facebook's just Devon Barnes. There ain't a lot of dark guys named Devon Barnes. Ain't too hard to find. Yeah, and like I said, there ain't a lot of dark guys holding ducks.
I love
Devon
it.
Barnes, so
I
ain't too hard to find. Like I said, I run a few hunts a year, and if you want to come down and hang out, shoot a few birds, shoot me a message, and I'd love to get to know you and see you down here and hanging out with us.
Bryantland.
Once again, that was Oklahoma's own Devon Barnes. Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. I really enjoyed talking to him. We had a great time. Some great conversation. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Bryant Land Show if you're not already doing so that way you can get every one of our episodes when they come out on every Monday. You can also go back and listen to the catalog of episodes that we have. We are over 100 episodes and going strong. So make sure, if you have not, go back and catch up on some of the episodes. We've had some great interviews over the last couple of years, some great episodes just in general. So make sure you go back, check those out. Make sure you're hitting our website, BryantlandCountry.com. That is our website, BryantlandCountry.com. You can get past podcasts, you can get videos, you can get merchandise, show your love by picking up some Bryantland merchandise. Once again, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for subscribing. Not sure why I keep cutting letters off of words. Nevertheless, I'm going to get on out of here. You guys have a great week. Have a great Monday. Make sure you come back here next week for another episode of The Bryant Land Show.